Hey friends, welcome to Living the KG Life, a pixie dust-filled podcast. I'm your host KG, and I'm so excited you're here. Stick around because it's going to be great. So let's jump right in. What is this podcast going to be about? Simply, it's going to be about all things Disney. I am a huge, lifelong Disney fan and really lucky to be a frequent guest at the most magical place on earth, Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida. Now, with both of those pieces comes a lot of questions from family members and friends alike, especially when they're planning their trips to Disney World. I get questions like, where should we stay? Where should we eat? When should we go? What parks have the most to do? What the heck is Run Disney? What's your favorite things to watch on Disney Plus? How about your mini ears? Where do you get them from? And the list goes on. So I thought this podcast would be a fun way to answer a lot of those questions. Throughout the show, I hope to share with you some of my favorite things to do and see, tips and tricks, share some reviews, highlight some really great shops to check out, and so much more. Now, there are so many elements to the world of Disney, and really there are so many different ways to do Disney trips, so I won't be alone in sharing all the good stuff. We'll have guests on to share their stories, perspectives, and their trips to make sure that you are super informed before you plan or go on your next magical adventure. Now that we have the goal covered, let's talk backstory. Recently, my friends John and Jay over at the With Good Energy podcast asked me to be a guest on their show and talk about Disney World. Quick plug, if you have not listened to the With Good Energy podcast yet, check them out and subscribe. The show is fantastic. And Juliana has been one of those people to text me and say, okay, KG, we're going to Disney. What do I need to know? Tell me everything. So we had a really great conversation on the episode that we recorded talking about their most recent trip. We talked about parks, we talked about tips and tricks, snacks, rides, where to stay, some ways to save some money, really just the basics. When I left, I was thinking, man, we only really scratched the surface, and my mind was racing about all the Disney topics that we didn't even get to. So of course, I made a list of all the Disney topics I would want to talk about in my own imaginary Disney-specific podcast. Fast forward, here we are living the KG life. This podcast hopefully will bring you lots of inspiration, excitement, fun, magic, and really just bring you some great tips and things to think about the next time you either turn on Disney Plus, head to a shop to pick something out for Disney World, or you're getting really out in that 60-day mark to plan your next trip. Thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you're going to stick around. It's going to be great.